Are you playing hurt today?
Yeah. This is a distinct illness from the flu that had me down for about 10 days a couple weeks ago. We don't know what this is.
Yeah,
the one that Chris had.
Well, I don't know if it was the one I had. You went to a Christmas party, a bunch of people in tuxedos.
You knew about that?
Yeah, you sent me a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank God you sent me a picture of that Christmas party because I guaranteed that flu was going to land squarely on my shoulders. You had it the week after me.
Nah, you were good. We were Zooming and everything. I couldn't have pinned it on you.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, are you still on the West Coast?
I am on the left coast, Christopher. Out here.
How's business out there?
Business is good. Obviously, did the Peach Bowl, flew out New Year's Day, Rose Bowl, game day, a couple added responsibilities, a ton of fun to be on the desk with the guys. Literally was landed at LAX Sunday, and I'm walking through the airport, and I'm like, why is every TV showing NFL highlights? I totally forgot it was an NFL Sunday.
Yeah, college football just ate your week.
These days just are all running together. Appreciate Reed reaching out early and letting me know what the schedule was for the week because what day it is. I mean, out here in L.A., Manhattan Beach, raining. It's unbelievable.
Is it raining in Manhattan Beach right now?
It does. I can confirm it does rain in Manhattan Beach.
And you got to see our friend Ryan Russillo last night.
Had a great dinner with old Riso last night. Good to see him.
That's
Told
great.
me he's checking in about 2:35. He got a salad in, and we were good.
2:35, please.
Steve looks and sounds really happy.
He got free gear at UCLA.
Yeah.
He got the Jordan. He's got a
that
bunch of
glow.
Jordan stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you to my friends at UCLA.
What was your biggest takeaway from the Peach Bowl, seeing it in person?
I can't believe C.J. Stroud was the losing quarterback in that game. I thought he was the best player on the field. I really did. Knowing what that team went through for the 35 days prior to that game, it was, somebody did the questions from Media Day, and it was, I think, 80% about the Michigan game. And then, like, another quarter of that was, do you feel like you deserve to be in this game? And being around Ohio State, you could sense they had, us against the world mentality. And I thought they had a great game plan. They went right at Georgia. Their offensive line hung in there, and slowly but surely that 60-minute game started to get them. And, you lose two difference makers like Cade Stover and Marvis Harrison Jr. And they're such a huge part of their game plan. It caught up with them, and Georgia hits the big play at the right time. They score too fast, leave Stroud time, and, the field goal's not even close. So I just, looking at what Stroud was up against, the criticism, how he looked the last time we saw him, to what he looked like in the Peach Bowl, I thought he was the best player on the field. And I was sad to see him lose that game because I didn't think he deserved it.
And how about the Horned Frogs, man? They probably had a little bit of them against the world.
Yeah,
going.
I was blown away at Michigan's plan. I really thought, this, Chris, with the 3-3-5, like, how do you go about it? If you have big guys in size, you try and maul them. And we see the first play of the game, they run ISO right up the middle. It's 59 yards. And then they go down to the goal line and they start getting cute. And then they go down in the game. So the game plan sort of gets away. You're down 2 scores that early in the game. It's tough, but I thought Michigan would line up, run inside zone, run some duo, and just overpower them up front, and they never did. And TCU's guys on the edge played great. I thought the injury to Schoonmaker, the tight end for Michigan, he's their best blocking tight end. And when you watch it, those guys on the edge for TCU dominated the edge of Michigan in the pass game, in the run game. And it was, I give TCU all the credit in the world, man. They didn't, I thought they would have to bring somebody else up in the box, against the run. They didn't. They played their 3-3-5 shell, and those guys played, man. The awareness they have, linebackers, shooting open gaps when they see run, I thought was just incredible. So hats off to them. Duggan wasn't great. He was really good in the run game. I thought they did a great job in zone reads. The Quentin Johnson play is tremendous and was much needed, but he's going to have to be better throwing the football Monday night.
Well, we finally got a good semifinal round. But I can't remember a playoff that we had 2 first-round games that seemed exciting. Of course, I was in Bahamas and couldn't watch either of them. But
Really?
refreshing on my Score app, they looked very exciting, and from everything I've heard this week, they were great games. So that bodes well for college football playoff lovers.
Both dogs cover.
Yeah,
as given out on the show.
Yeah.
Yep.
What's going on there? Is his voice all right?
I swallowed a horned frog in honor of the college football national championship game. I'm okay, Steve. This is a new illness.
You don't look it and you don't sound it.
Oh, I thought I was looking pretty good.
I just look normal. No offense.
Well, no, I played
That's what a lot of people say.
Are you playing hurt today?
Yeah. This is a distinct illness from the flu that had me down for about 10 days a couple weeks ago. We don't know what this is.
Yeah,
the one that Chris had.
Well, I don't know if it was the one I had. You went to a Christmas party, a bunch of people in tuxedos.
You knew about that?
Yeah, you sent me a picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank God you sent me a picture of that Christmas party, because I guaranteed that flu was going to land squarely on my shoulders. You had it the week after me.
Nah, you were good. We were Zooming and everything. I couldn't have pinned it on you.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I just played a little Nerf hoops out here in the office. I thought I got a little color in my face. I thought I was looking good.
So
I just have very thin skin under my eyes, so it always looks like I'm tired.
But you sound like a different person.
I know.
He's not tired. He's trucking along here.
Didn't Michigan score down 14-3? That 51-yarder?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know what we're doing there. The idea, I thought they overturned it pretty fast, too.
I saw that
Yeah.
play. Yeah.
But his knee is down. He doesn't have the ball. He doesn't have possession.
It was wild.
Hey, preaching the choir here. These zebras are out of control. In the NFL, too. I mean, I don't want to bring it up again, but you didn't see maybe this play, but I was watching the Dolphins game. It takes 5 minutes to have a terrible blown call. The Patriots take the ball right off of Jeff Wilson and forward progress. And then the refs say it's not reviewable, and it is reviewable. They amended the rule this year. So Bill Belichick's not sure. The refs aren't sure. Nobody knows what the fuck's going on. That's what I mean. Challengeable, reviewable.
And it was a week after Stevenson lost it on the goal line.
Yep.
On the same call.
Same
where
situation.
They upheld it.
So, anyways, Steve, Jim Harbaugh looks like he's going to leave Michigan and probably head to the NFL. Is there something I didn't see today? No, but Carolina.
I'm just thinking about last year when he literally interviewed with the Vikings on signing day.
Yeah.
The guy's Teflon.
Yeah.
He can do whatever he wants.
Yeah, and was like, I just didn't want the job, and they didn't even offer the job. Right. So, like, if you're Jim Harbaugh, is this the year you leave? Are the pro jobs attractive enough to you? Which job do you think is the most attractive? He seems to lean Carolina, from what the sources say.
Yeah, he's always been really, really good at getting the max dollars, whether he's even bidding against himself with other teams or using other guys that are also in the possibility of getting the job. But I look at him as a whole, right? What else can he do at Michigan? I think you beat Ohio State twice. You end up on top. I get it, the national championship. Your team didn't perform in the semifinal, but those dollars are really high, and it sounds like he wants to get back to the NFL and get some unfinished business there. Now, Carolina, Denver, those situations are not the best right now quarterback-wise, but I go back to look in what he did, overtaking Alex Smith with Kaepernick,
Yeah.
So I would think if the time is when is the time going to be? It's now.
It's interesting because I wonder what kind of like who he'd signed to be his OC. I guess it would depend on where he went. But we were talking about it the other day, like when Jim was the coach in San Francisco and we were in St. Louis. It was you knew what you were going to get. Greg Roman is a very particular style of offense, and I just don't know if he would run a totally different scheme or who he'd bring in. I don't know if Greg Roman's going to be unemployed in a couple months. I'm not really sure where he goes offensively, and maybe it depends on where he ends up. The only place I think that you have to be particular about, the scheme you run is probably in Denver because it's got to fit the guy that's already there. But Indy, kind of a blank slate there. And the thing I like about Carolina, I've mentioned this a bunch, is that division is, nobody home. You know, and even the AFC South, you do have Vrabel to contend with. They're always going to be solid. And now Jacksonville looks like, if you go off the last 8 games of the season, an elite team in the NFL. So interesting decision to make. And then there's, you know, I can't get off this hill, but like if I was a college coach or, you know, a Sean Payton sitting up there at the desk with Howie Long, I might spend one more year and try to catch the Caleb Williams train.
That's when I think about the Colts, that's like they're going to have to do this again, a 1-year deal for a quarterback, and then I think go all in on next year's quarterback class is better.
Well, they can't play veteran roulette again.
No,
they just can't do it again. And Derek Carr, no, thank you. Like we can't do this again. You know, you just did it with Wentz, and then you did it with Ryan, and you could actually argue that the Matt Ryan situation was in Rivers. I mean, like, nah, dude, you really have to start over. Whether it's what we mentioned earlier, like, hey, you settle for a guy that you really like in the middle of the draft, or in the top
Number
third
5
of the draft
pick right now.
Yeah, the top 10, and you know, like, there's going to be a ton of guys there.
Will Levis, maybe.
Yeah, Mayo Boy or Anthony
Levis,
Richardson. No, I'm not going to take Levis at all. The Mayo thing, he's off the table. But so here's another one for you before we get into the national championship. Penn State, winners of the Rose Bowl. Impressive victory for them. What does Penn State have to do to become like a playoff team? I know what they physically have to do, but like that program, is there a ceiling on their success with James Franklin there? Like, what do they have to do to take that next step?
I don't think so. I was out in the pregame on the field for warm-ups, and I was blown away at the size and speed that team has, Chris. Like, you think of a Big Ten team, and, you know, I'm thinking go up front and look at that. I went to their skill, like, I watched their secondary. I mean, they didn't even have Joey Porter Jr., and their secondary, I think, is the real deal. And when you think about what do they have to do to beat Michigan and Ohio State, they're both in their division, you know?
Right.
And they haven't been able to do it, you know, twice in the same year. But I think the formula's there. They got high hopes for the Aller kid who's going to take over. I was really happy for Clifford. I backed him. I always thought they were up against it offensive line-wise, and that, you know, caused him to play the way he did and have some turnovers. But I was super-duper happy for him, the way he went out, and they just dominated. I mean, Cam Rising does get hurt, but Penn State, you know, tightened up that defense early on, and the offense just kept getting better and better. And those 2 running backs, I mean, they brought out the old T formation. I know they've done it in games prior, but that T formation down the goal line with both backs in there, there's no balance towards it. So I like what I saw from Penn State, and I think, you know, seeing what happens with Ohio State with guys going pro, that's going to look like a different roster. Michigan is Michigan, but Penn State should be right there next year.
Who's Michigan hiring if Jim skates? Like, who do you like there?
Ooh.
And what do we have to do to get Matt Campbell to leave Iowa State? I've been talking about this for 3 years.
His resume is getting tough, man.
No, but that's buy low. That's
okay.
Tony Bennett corollary.
Yeah, buy low.
Tony Bennett, National Coach of the Year, and then mixed in a little NIT.
Okay.
Jump ship. Won a title at Virginia.
Natty.
Hey, Steve, while you think about the Michigan opening potential, how were the 2 atmospheres? How did they differ? Peach Bowl and Rose Bowl. Peach Bowl and Rose Bowl.
I mean, no one travels like Ohio State, right? I mean, they are masses everywhere you go in the country, and it felt like that's all you saw walking around Atlanta in the days leading up to it. And they let themselves go. You know, like they go up 21-7. That place was as loud as it was all game. And then the problem is, you know, Chris doesn't like the red. A lot of red.
Too much red.
Sort of the same red, too.
Yeah, too much red, dude. See, I see it in your face. You don't like it either.
I like to see the split. Like Penn State, Utah was perfect. Penn State wore their white. Utah wore their red. And Penn State, I heard, ended up giving a couple thousand tickets back. And you saw it. Utah sold out, and they were ready to go. They really wanted to get back after, you know, blowing the game and Rising getting hurt last year. And unfortunately, the same thing happens. It's the Peach Bowl was the real deal. It had everything. It did not feel like a neutral site game at all. Whereas I think the Rose Bowl, everybody's taking it in, kind of a slower paced game. I mean, Ohio State, Georgia, it was haymaker after haymaker. The energy was incredible in the building. And I think I was there for the Tua game, and that's it. But that atmosphere, knowing what was at stake with the underdog and the defending champ playing. It's also crazy to think Georgia played 3 games there this year. I would lean towards Peach Bowl being a different level than the Rose Bowl was.
All right, just from an atmosphere and a quality of trip standpoint, I'm going to ask you to do something you've never done in this show before, Steve.
Oh, boy.
Marry, fuck, kill. I want you to marry, fuck, kill the Rose Bowl, the Peach Bowl, and the Fiesta Bowl. I know where I'm going to go.
You're saying ball games.
Just like if you got to go the trip, your fan experience, the whole thing.
It's
just any year.
This is a layup, Steve.
I think it's a layup too.
Are you guys gonna go?
Yeah, I'm fucking the Peach Bowl. I'm marrying the Rose Bowl, and I'm killing the Fiesta Bowl.
Oh no, I'm fucking the Fiesta Bowl. I'm marrying the Rose Bowl, and I'm killing the Peach Bowl.
Killing the Peach? You've never been to Northside Tavern?
No, you haven't.
My middle name is Buckhead. All right.
It's just too much at home for you.
It's too much.
Yeah, it's just too many U's.
Yeah.
Down at the Peach Bowl.
Yep.
It literally is a bunch of U's.
Yeah. It's brutal.
Yeah.
There's just
younger, more aggressive, drunk.
Just
U's.
so many buttons on people's shirts.
Yes, dude.
Collars everywhere.
You're right. I just like Atlanta. It's just a fun place. Yeah. Maybe I'm low key a little fratty.
Yeah.
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 Wonder if he's going to say that for it.
Scottsdale's great, but the game's not in Scottsdale.
Yeah, it's in the big microwave.
Yeah.
You got to go an hour, dude.
Yeah. I agree with Macon.
Thank you, Steve. You guys ever had a one-night stand?
No comment.
Drive to Glendale.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
In and out.
Oh, it's a one-night stand. Got it. That's a hell of a long drive of shame. Okay. Hey, while we're here, I think I was gonna say is a bad week for the Pac-12. We just talked about Utah. We I don't even know who won the Oregon bowl game.
Oregon
won. Okay,
Carolina.
so you got that going for you. And then obviously the shocker being Tulane.
Yeah.
Completing that comeback. Talk to me about that game.
Why is everybody giggling?
Because we're trying not to do the Tulane joke.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, we retired it.
We retired it.
We put it in the rafters.
Yeah.
You should, because
right above us.
Tulane, it was all, I thought going into the game, obviously the motivation, right? The magic word of both seasons, motivation. Tulane had it. SC, not great. When you go back and watch SC against Utah, the defense was just horrific. Whether it was not getting lined up right, aggressiveness, tackling, open field tackling, assignments, it was bad. And Tulane stayed on the course and got that win. And that's a credit to them, man. Like you go down against a team like SC and Caleb Williams, knowing what he's capable of, that's a dangerous spot. And they just stayed on. Their quarterback didn't play great. I mean, Pratt, what did he complete? 8 passes? But Spears was incredible. I think he's the real deal at running back. And their defense made plays when they had to. A couple turnovers. They converted a couple huge fourth downs. And it's just a team that I just felt like believed in themselves. Why did they get to this point? They believed in themselves. Going 2-10, I think it was the year before. But it was a tremendous win for Tulane. Really, really happy for.
And did we miss a Bevel Conway here? That's a beautiful matchup. USC Tulane. Too bad it was inside, but
Jerry World.
It's a good color balance there. And by the way, coming back to the Fiesta Bowl for a second, that trophy is just asinine.
200 pounds.
That is a fucking It's like
$2.5 million, I think, to make.
Is Tostitos still the sponsor?
Verbo,
the Verbo Fiesta Bowl giant 250-pound trophy.
VRBO. Yeah.
So, anyways, fuck that trophy.
Hey, Steve, you see that kick returner, the fair catch at the 1, bounced out of bounds to give Tulane the safety?
That was kind of a big play.
That was a bad beat.
Oh, you guys, there was a really bad beat last week. It might have been Mississippi State.
The LiaQuest Bowl.
Oh,
Oh, my God, dude.
I gave out Mississippi State on game day, too. I couldn't believe it happened. Couldn't believe it.
Unbelievable, dude. And Scott's pitchy woo-woo.
Yeah. Pitchy woo came through.
It never ends well, depending on where you sit. I'll
Here's
never forget
thing.
Northwestern Ohio State sitting in a – well, I wasn't legally gambling at a book, but I was betting teammates, and it was Northwestern Ohio State. I forget what year it was. But,
yeah, that's
I was playing – it was James Laurinaitis was
10
on –
years
yeah,
ago.
Me and Laurinaitis watching that game.
I was just saying, if you're going to run pitchy woo-woo, I think we talked about this last week, you obviously practice it, but get your offensive line off the field. Put in your linebackers, safeties, defensive backs.
Yes.
Make it a priority that every guy that has possibly could get his hands on the ball could take it the distance.
Yeah, you're right.
And until I see somebody do that, I will not.
I would have a package just for that, especially with these enormous college rosters.
Hey, pitchy personnel.
Pitchy. It'd be a bunch of undersized 1986 looking ass offensive linemen, and they're guys that can really run. Try it.
You should run it with your hands team.
Did you see that they were doing like entrance music for people at the Fiesta Bowl? And Harbaugh's music was "The Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald" by Gordon Lightfoot. Did you know that?
No.
Unless I read like some bad information, he entered to "The Wreck of Edmund Fitzgerald" by Gordon Lightfoot. Go ahead and put that as our first layup line today.
There we go.
Reed. We don't do a lot of layup lines on this show.
Repeat.
Steve.
Is it a repeat?
Kyle had it from a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Remember he came in, he's like, I've been listening to this song, The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald.
Is that what he sounded like too? Really? He did that?
Excited.
Yep. Harbaugh was like a fan of the
song?
pod then.
Yeah, he might be a fan of the damn pod. What's up, Jim?
Hey,
Go
Jim.
take the Carolina job.
Go to
Who does
Indy,
Reed
Jim.
want for the Broncos?
You know, Jim Harbaugh was enticing, and then I remembered
Until
it
you
was
hang out
Jim
with him.
Harbaugh. I really like our current DC, Ijero Ivero, but him turning down the interim was telling.
Give me
But
Dan
we'll
Quinn.
see. Dan Quinn, that could be fun.
Give me a retread.
That could be really fun.
What
And
about
then the worst
D'Amico?
thing, if he's no good, you just fucking play out until you can get rid of Russell Wilson.
couple years,
yeah,
yeah.
it's just like, all right, well, we made this mistake. We got to sit with it for a while. Okay, national championship.
Steve, with Tulane's success
Okay, all right.
at 12-2, it seems likely that they will be able to expand their brand, their recruiting footprint, everything. It's going to be a big boon for the Green Wave.
Will they have to
that's
change
true.
their name?
Nope.
I wouldn't think so.
Perfectly good name.
Oh, okay.
Hey, so the national championship, that's a lot of points, Steve.
It is. I got to take the points. I got to.
Really?
Steven, it's going to be 37-13 Georgia.
That's fine. I'll take the loss. I gave out TCU money line. I have to back
You
them
gave out TCU money line.
on College game day.
Wow.
Whoa.
McAfee almost fell over.
For the Fiesta Bowl or
McAfee
national
almost
title?
fell over when Dan Campbell wouldn't go on his goddamn podcast. We get turned down all the fucking time. You want a fucking master class in getting over getting turned down. Come work at the Green Light Pod.
Yeah. Take the green light on passing.
All right, so tell me what the hell is going to happen in this game, because that's a lot of points, and I know the public's going to be on TCU and they're going to take the points. We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
It's moved to what, 12 and a half or
12 and a
something?
half,
Yeah.
It was 14.
I just wonder if Georgia will take the mindset I thought Michigan was gonna. And like we talked about, line up your guys and those 3 down guys. I mean, they don't really change personnel, but are you going to be stern in your approach if you do get, jacked up? And then Michigan got caught in that swoon of trailing double figures, and that's what happens. I don't think Georgia will be like that. I think the key to the game is, one, Darnell Washington, the monster tight end for Georgia. He left that game with an injury. I think he's going to play. Now, when you think about the idea of how big he is, Chris, and you could talk to this, those edge guys for TCU, just look at how hard it was for Georgia to get to the quarterback, knowing how big those bookend tackles are. And with Washington, it's almost like a third tackle on the offensive line. And obviously TCU is undersized out on the edge, and I think they have to do something to try and create something there. And then I'll do anything I can to try and get Bowers matched up on 57 Hodges. That's where I think the chess match is. I think the personnel Georgia puts on the field is important. 335 people, talking to those people, what gives them trouble is 20 personnel. I've heard that possibly used when you go two backs and then you use Bowers, as that slot guy that can motion and come back and forth. So there's a lot of ways to go about it. I still think Georgia throws more than I would like, but, trailing in the game, you get a guy to fall down. That's kudos to you for having that aggressiveness. So yeah. I think, again, I said it for the semifinals, the first half for TCU is absolutely monstrous. Mm-hmm. Absolutely monstrous, because you saw, they took Michigan's best shot in the second half and they still stood up there. But, if they don't play that well in the first half, I don't think they're playing Monday night. So the first half is absolutely enormous, and Duggan has to throw the ball better. He's got to be more accurate. His deep balls were not even close a lot of times against Michigan. They need to hit those. And I think Ohio State kind of gave you a recipe with what Georgia wants to do coverage-wise and throwing that ball over the middle of the field. Not a lot of teams like to do it. We'll see what TCU does.
I don't enjoy watching games at SoFi. If it's the lighting or the backdrop, whatever it is.
Maybe the field will be better.
Yeah, maybe.
There'll be no blue and yellow. I think that'll help.
Yeah, that will help.
Yeah.
All right. That's college football. Oh, Bobby Petrino got a job.
Yeah, A&M.
What do we think?
I mean, everybody's going to talk about stuff off the field. I still think the world of them is a play
off the road.
Yeah, good one. Good catch. But, I mean, his results on the field when he's had even below talent, he is a handful. He knows
he could have used 4-lane, Steve.
Bring it out of the rafters. Lower that bad boy.
Hold on a second.
I thought 2023 I'd be able to avoid it, but it has.
Okay, go ahead. Anyways, I'm sorry. Start your serious analysis.
No, I mean, everybody said Jimbo needed to, hire a play caller. His offense has been, a little stale there. So you bring in a guy that's got as much experience as anybody in Petrino. You got to be excited if you're an A&M fan.
Yeah, no question. No question.
Yeah.
If you're one of the
Jimbo Fisher and Bobby Petrino.
Do they call them the 12s down there like they do in Seattle?
12th man.
Yeah, 12th man. Effectively make them the 12s.
Yeah. I don't know if they use that particular parlance.
That's what I was asking. Yeah.
NIL out the wazoo.
Yeah. So I want to talk pro football. Obviously, the number one thing on everybody's mind this week has been Damar Hamlin. And that, I mean, a lot of times I think there's hyperbole when it's like we're all thinking about this thing, but I've not been able to get it off my mind. Like Monday night, I remember Matt dropped me off at home, and I was like, dude, like I'm gonna go to bed tonight. Like, is that fucked up? Like, I'm really worried about this guy, but life goes on, right? Like it's crazy. But I have not been able to get away from it. Like the first night, I was waking up checking my phone.
Feels
the first
like
thing I'm doing,
was, Chris.
in the morning,
really
just looking at the updates. I'm scrolling constantly, and just the updates this week have been, they've seemed positive. I'm not gonna lie, man. Like it was tough to watch. We didn't see it in real time. I think football players are kind of desensitized to it a little bit. Mm-hmm. But when you hear CPR and somebody's being resuscitated and just the severity of the injury, I've never seen anything like it. The players in the field had obviously never seen anything like it. It's been a tough, long week, and the updates being positive, I got to be honest, I'm shocked. I thought he was going to die, dude. Like Monday night, I thought I was going to wake up and I was going to hear that the kid passed. And I'm just so thankful that we've heard some positive stuff through the week. Whether it's, hey, he's breathing on less oxygen or, many of the updates we've heard have been better than I thought they would be. And Steve, I kind of wonder what you were thinking, as this all transpired Monday. I know you didn't see it live.
Yeah.
But we haven't all been together to talk about it.
No, and you and I are texting late that night, and I could get the sense from you, and the same thing. Nobody wants that to happen, and you factor in, first of all, the bigness of the game. I mean, everybody was waiting for this game because of finally we got a Monday night game that had two teams that could win the Super Bowl. Yeah. And I'm at the Rose Bowl. I get in a car. I'm getting driven to get my car so I could drive to the studio to be on Scott's show after Monday Night Football. And, somebody says, the game's delayed. And I'm like, what? Weather? Like, what's going on? And they're like, no, there's an injury. And then everybody's, gets on their phone and it's like, what? And I'll be honest, I never seen anything like that. And when I'm seeing the Bills players see it for the first time, that's what got me. I was like, holy
seeing their reaction.
Yes. Seeing those, seeing Stephon Diggs the way, happiest-go-lucky guy in the league, seeing him like that. And then you factor that today, hearing Zach Taylor talk about Coach McDermott, and when he said, I feel like I shouldn't be coaching here. I want to be at the hospital with my player. That's some, it just goes, everything goes back to everybody not ever seeing it, and everybody rushes to that, the negative side of things. And I've, nothing like that ever. You've had injuries. I've had injuries. There's a trust level you have that your doctors will figure it out. And I think the idea of seeing 9 minutes on the field and the players watching this, that is what's
traumatic.
Yes. Yeah. So as unfortunate as it is, I give so much credit to the people that are involved in trying to help him.
Yeah.
And everything else you can always, you think you take for granted, but man, that's the worst of the worst. And I can't imagine, obviously. Thoughts?
I'm gonna be kind of, and make you feel free, but I'm gonna be kind of, abstract here. There's been such an outpouring of support and love for this kid, and deservedly so. The more I've learned about him, you're just like, oh, what an awesome guy. And I just hope he wakes up to see it all. Usually you don't get to hear about all the nice stuff people say about you. And there's so many great people in football. And it's just a shame that it takes something like this to celebrate the quality of person and people that we have playing this game, because there's a lot of Damar Hamlins out there. Yep. And, just as a side note, I just think hey, with all the humanity that's come out of this, and I'm not including the people that politicized it, the anti-vax people or some of the bad tweets that I'm just going to ignore, because it's really, I know that it's easy to get angry and have nowhere to put the anger, and it's, we got to aim it at Skip Bayless or Bart Scott, people that say stupid things in the wake of stuff like this. I'm not focused on that.
No.
I'm focused on just all the positivity that's come out of it. And, whether it's his toy drive, whether it's all the sharing of the positive work he's done in communities, sharing his old interviews that were, kind of prophetic. He one of them was hey, you never know. And, I say I love you to everybody, because you never know when's the last time you're going to line up next to somebody. So I was overwhelmed with this feeling of, and I didn't get emotional the first night, because I think it's more just concern and I can't get my eyes off it and hope. But when I heard that he might be turning the corner, I got a little emotional about it, because I was he might wake up and hear about all this. And I just hope that we can, because we've exhibited the ability to love up on each other, do this better. Without you having to get resuscitated on a football field. And it's easy to say, hey, you shouldn't criticize athletes anymore. I don't believe that wholeheartedly. I think, where people are still going to rag on us and yell at us when we make bad plays and that sort of thing. But there should be a line, because football players especially are out there and they're risking their lives and their livelihoods. And yes, this is a freak thing, Steve. I saw Time Magazine came out with an article, and they were I knew this was coming. They were like, should we not play football anymore? I'm like, well, you sat through all the stuff to this point, and now there's a freak accident. Quite literally, you need things to – the imperfect storm needs to happen, to the umpteenth degree. I'm not going to entertain that we shouldn't play football stuff anymore. Like, please, if you're okay with the CTE, with the head trauma, with the guys getting carted off every weekend. I watched Josh Sweat get carted off this weekend. Nick Foles looked like he was having a fucking seizure on the field. He was hurt so bad. If you can stomach all that but not this, like, you're not thinking through it. So on one hand, I am encouraged that people, not to give fans a cookie for doing the basic shit, but we're human beings about this thing. And on the other hand, when it comes to football and the future of the game, I don't think this affects the future of the game. I just hope this kid comes out of it and can wake up. I'm not worried about the career. I'm sure he would be when he wakes up, but just me as a bystander, I just want him to wake up and see all this love and outpouring of support.
No doubt.
And fingers crossed that happens. That would mean that essentially a life was saved on the field, which is miraculous.
Yeah.
I mean, professionals knowing exactly what to do, when to do it. Let's hope this has a really, really happy ending.
And David Chow, who's a pro football doctor, I've gone on his show before. I know him decently well. He made the point. He's like, there's no better place for this particular thing to happen than a pro football field. And like, on one hand, I'm kind of like, well, it's one of the only places this could happen, but it's not. I mean, like, this happens evidently, if it is what people think, it happens in car accidents. It happened to Chris Pronger, who's a guy I know in St. Louis. Obviously, he didn't have to get, it didn't seem like his was as serious. It's happened in baseball. It's happened in lacrosse. But being on a pro football field, having the defibrillator there, like having all the staff, the whole thing. I mean, like, like what you said, it's a miracle.
Yeah.
So I'm very hopeful, man. And the NFL, obviously, not even secondary to this, like way down the line, like has to continue business as usual. I mean, like the playoffs are going to go on, and week 18 is going to go on, and the Bills are fucking practicing right now, dude. The compartmentalization of pro football players is incredible.
Yep.
I've said this before, and I tweeted it, and people were like, well, that's a sick thing to brag about. I'm not bragging about it. It just is what it is. These guys are remarkable. I mean, they watch this shit all the time, not to this degree of severity, but I've watched many of my friends be carted off the field. I've had to visit friends at the hospital. The way these guys just go about their business is crazy. So, just taking a moment to acknowledge that. And the scheduling aspect of it is crazy because you don't know what's going to happen with this game. Not that it matters, but it does matter possibly to the Bills. Like a lot of it hinges on what happens Saturday night, I think. If you're the NFL, what are you doing right now?
I would play week 18 as scheduled and declare it a no contest and go on winning percentages.
And hope that Kansas City locks up the 1 seed so that it's as it were, right?
Yeah.
And do I understand that correctly? If Kansas City wins Saturday night, there's really not a lot to play for here, right?
That's right.
Not if the Bills were to win 2 games, but if they don't have 2 games, then Kansas City would lock it up with that one.
Now, if Kansas City had won and the Bills had won 2 games,
because the Bills have the tiebreaker over the Chiefs.
Right? Yeah. So it's a tough situation because on one hand, you're like the Bills might eventually want that game played because they might want home field advantage. They probably want to go win a Super Bowl for this cat, and the easiest way to do that is, hey, the road runs through Buffalo. But for the league, you're in a tough spot, and I think it's easy to pile on the league here because they're always the enemy.
Yep.
But it's really hard for me to put myself in Rodgers' shoes and in Troy Vincent's shoes and all those guys. And one thing that I liked that they said was that we're going to take care of this kid, even though he's not vested. Like if he can't play football anymore, we're going to take care of him. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a significant piece of the puzzle too.
And they made the right call Monday night, even if people think it took them too long or they were. I mean, they were probably trying to wait for an update that, hey, he's going to be okay.
Yeah. Also, the people in New York don't know exactly what's going on in the field. It's all happening in real time. Again, like this is me just choosing not to. I understand why people are upset with the Skip Bayless or Bart Scott. And like Skip, I'm going to be honest. His tweet, if a good person tweeted it, I'd give them the benefit of the doubt because of, the way it was poorly structured and all that stuff. A lot of it depends, and I've said this before, like pay attention. What you say, it's often the ordering of what you say and the emphasis of, where you put the emphasis and that sort of thing. And his was a poorly worded tweet at best. But I think Skip's made a career of being a fucking asshole. And I think the chickens are coming home to roost. And for Bart Scott, I think you just need to be more careful, man. Like, to blame T. Higgins in any way is like, I don't want any part of that conversation.
Yep.
Because T. Higgins has got to deal with this. In his mind, and I don't know where he is on this thing, and I feel terrible for him. So there's a lot that goes into this, but what I'm saying is that the NFL, getting mad at the NFL here just feels like you're taking the fear that we're all feeling and the discomfort that we're all feeling, rightfully so, and turning it into anger because that's easy to do. I'm not going to blame the NFL for anything that happened here. I think that the medical staff, as you said, should be lauded, and the NFL has a tough job to do in deciding what happens now. Mm-hmm. So it's just praying for Damar Hamlin. Yeah. I thought the people at ESPN did a really nice job the other night.
Yeah.
I thought Scott did a great job. I think Ryan did a great job. I thought, the guys on set like Booger and Schefter and Susie were awesome because that was such a tough task.
And Joe and Troy.
Yeah. I mean, Coley Harvey going to the hospital, having all that stuff. Guys, it's pretty crazy when you're, planning a show and the biggest part of your show is the game you're following. It happens to us every Monday. But like I said, I'm driving to the studio here in Los Angeles and I get a text saying they're telling us to go to the studio now. Like we're taking over this after the game was postponed. And it's a lot, man. It's a lot. I think Scott was on for an hour straight, no breaks. And, Ryan, thankfully, is in studio every Monday with us. And Joe and Troy, doing what they do. Everybody, Lisa Salters was incredible. Everybody pitched in. Everybody understands. It's the, no one wants to be in that situation, but there is a purpose there to deliver from the fan. The problem is if you don't have any updates, it kind of gets into a, there's Big Ben again feeling where, hey, I already watched this. We need more info. At some point, you're not going to get info, man. You're not going to get it. But and that's where you start, all right, who else is going to come on? What do you have? And you're really, really handcuffed because, again, going back to what we talked about with the Bills players and seeing their reaction, no one's ever seen this before.
Yeah, and there's no blueprint. There's no run a show. Exactly. There's no
there's no blueprint.
Hey, now we're going to go to this. I'm pretty sure like Booger and them were like, we just got to talk now, which is just, tough. But tip of the cap to them once more. Week 18 because the games are going to go on as scheduled.
Yeah, and in our little contest here, Steve has a healthy lead. Despite
healthy?
Well, despite going 1-2, his competition went a combined 0-6 last week.
Really?
Yeah.
I had one.
Not according to the doc. You might have, but not according to the doc.
The Patriots didn't cover. I changed it to the Texans. Mm-hmm. Fuck me running.
Talk about a bad beat. Can that go on the show tonight?
Well,
changed his mind.
Yeah, that was tough. I might want to run that tape back. You like running the tape back? I'll take a little tape getting run back.
Steve's up 3, but we're gonna roll on through the playoffs, right? We got plenty of time.
Yeah. Okay,
you want to just continue it into 23 also? 23
but
season?
We could also tie him and have a big runoff.
Why don't we just make your guys wins are worth 2 points and mine are 1?
Put Steve in the Waffle House for
24 hours. Put Steve in the Waffle House. He'd do well in the Waffle House.
I'd come for a visit.
Well, let's give our locks and then we can talk about the games because I don't want to give anything away.
Can we rebrand this segment because they're not locks? You can't see the board.
Right. This weekend it's like fucking walking at night without a flashlight.
I can't see it.
Okay, so
I just saw something. Okay, all right. Okay.
So the first thing I want to talk about is Ron Rivera. Before we give these locks, what'd you make of him not knowing the situation? What do you make of the quarterback thing? I thought it was such a curious decision. I kind of wondered if they were tanking in playoff contention. It's a heavy accusation, but these things happen in the NFL.
It's just too hard to nail the pick, though.
It's too hard to nail the pick, but there is a big swing for them. I was looking at it.
They're 14 right now.
They're 14 right now, but they're bunched in there with like 8 teams at 7 wins and 6 teams with 6 wins.
Yep.
A couple weeks ago, maybe you're looking at it and you're saying like, I don't know that we can beat anybody in the playoffs. Like, let's be real.
The Vikes are sitting there.
The Vikings are sitting there. Yeah, sure.
We'll let Steve talk, but I think it's a staffer in the building saying, yeah, we're good. We just need to win week 18, even if we don't win this week. And that was not right.
And so Ron Rivera got the bus backed up over him because somebody that was supposed to tell him the truth didn't tell him the right stuff.
I'm moving ahead, and I'm looking at how fired up I am for Sam Howell to play quarterback.
God damn. He just doesn't want to talk bad about Ron. And I don't want to talk bad about Ron. I love me some Ron Rivera.
Yeah.
Put it on the unnamed staffer, like I just did.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ron can't be on ESPN.com looking at all the scenarios.
So from a quarterback standpoint, since Steve is saying I'm going to sit my starters on this take, Carson Wentz, he's got an injury clause. They don't want to play him at risk because they are eliminated now. Ron realized that there's a $4 million injury clause.
Yep.
Reed said the number that he's still owed on his contract,
53.
That can't be all real. I know it's on paper, but there's no way he's gonna see all that money. Is he now? Well, I mean, like when
after that last performance.
No, I'm saying like when is he off the tab? Because that is unbelievable, man, unbelievable. And playing him was an unbelievable decision. That's one he's got to own too. Potential out 2023.
Yeah, so potential out after this season.
Okay, thank God. Also, Fields sitting out. He's got an injury. Peterman's starting there. David Blau is starting in Arizona. And those motherfuckers, they almost beat the Falcons and took care of them for me. But instead, damn Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be what? Blaine Gabbert? Kyle Trask? Blaine Gabbert?
That was awkward.
We just touched feet.
That was
Chris
so
and
awkward.
We just touched feet.
Yeah, that was awkward.
They said Gabbert was number 2.
Gabbert.
So let's do it. Should we do it?
Yeah. Lead us off here.
No, I don't know. I
Big
think you
boy.
might have to lead us off.
We're tied now, but you haven't left last place respectfully. So I don't think
respectfully, I think tie break goes to the person who won the Waffle House. So you can pick first.
Okay.
Steve, we still haven't talked about that.
No, I know. I missed the whole thing. You picked
So
I
I had to pick the score correctly to win. It was the last Thursday. It's last week. I don't want to go backwards.
And that was the agreement the whole year?
Mm-hmm.
It's been the agreement for a couple of years.
I stopped trying for starters, and I don't know that the count was correct. But yeah, that's what happened.
Okay.
I'm proud of my friend.
Okay, thank you.
He did a great job.
We're going to have so much fun at the Waffle House.
Yeah.
On opposite sides of the restaurant.
No. We have to sit together.
Yeah. We're gonna get back to us,
Get back to us.
Yeah. We can do the footsie thing.
It's like getting back to basics, yeah.
Yeah, we were just doing
How many pancakes is Macon have to eat?
It's waffles.
Could be 0.
1 an hour.
0 to 24.
He gets 1 hour off every waffle he eats. So where are you putting his waffle count over under? They're big waffles.
He will surprise you knowing how much he does not want to spend 24 hours.
Especially with me. He just wants to get out of there. All right.
Can you eat 5?
I think you can eat 5. You should hope.
Yeah.
I should hope. I mean, that puts me in there 19 hours.
Yeah, and I'm going to be going for 10. I'm going for 10.
Oh, God.
Okay.
When are we doing it?
I don't know. We got to figure that out. I've been waiting on a date. No offense, Reed.
We could push it off a little while, I think.
We could.
Yeah.
Depending on your Super Bowl availability, that could be a fun event. in Arizona.
I'm not going to want to get it. Here's the problem, because Reed pitched the other day. We should go to do that in Arizona. I'm like, I'm not going to be at the Super Bowl that long.
I don't
You're
think
going to lose all this time.
What,
Waffle Houses?
There are.
No.
There are?
Reed's already checked. There's Waffle
there's
Houses.
4 within 30 minutes of the State Farm
They got
Stadium.
one in Gilbert. They got one in fucking Mesa.
You can't use one of your Super Bowl days for that.
Yeah, you can't. That's what I'm saying. You can't use a whole Super Bowl day, and then plus,
but it would be sick to be like, "Hey, everybody, we're hanging out the Waffle House."
Yeah,
Stop
so
by,
many
and then-
people are gonna come through. Reed. Reed's like, people will come through. I was like, yeah, I don't know.
What's the
Especially if
start
it's like,
time?
I'm going to request that it's about 8 a.m.
8 a.m.
Yeah,
I'll do 8 a.m. with you.
Yeah,
Friday, Waynesboro.
Friday.
No,
This
not Friday.
Yeah, your mind?
We need a little more time. But here's the deal. I forget what I was going to say because we were thinking about the Arizona thing. I also don't want to be bloated, like hanging out at parties. You know, you go out to parties.
You can't
you
do
don't
the
wanna,
Super Bowl thing.
Yeah, you can't do Super Bowl thing. We'd probably shut that down.
You'd have to go
because there's less than 50% chance.
Maybe I could drive down and make an appearance.
That would make
Steve,
it better.
that would make our day. By the way, why don't you just come visit us?
That's what I was thinking.
Okay, just no, but I mean,
I don't
just
want to
like
get
anytime.
sick though. Macon's always sick.
I'm always sick.
All right.
Hey,
Make-
Carolina will be here next week.
Yeah,
Come see the Tar Heels.
Duke adjacent.
Root for Virginia for once.
All right, so what's up with your pick?
Okay, player. I am going to take. I'm going to take.
You know, this weekend, it's while you're thinking about it.
I'm going to go Indianapolis
Fuck!
-2.5. Really?
Yeah,
Because Houston wants to lose.
and I just gave you that
How'd you just give me that?
because I said you can go first.
Right,
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Colts
But,
-2.5.
Hey, the layup line song this week is motivated by 3-6 Mafia, because that's what this, like you said in bowl games, this is what Week 18 is all about. It's about being motivated. It's just who's motivated.
Jeff Saturday's going to try.
Fucking Steve Wilkes and Sam Darnold. 3.5. We're catching down in New Orleans. Those guys are ready to go home. Dennis Allen's ready. Dennis Allen's like, Sean, come back. You know?
I think you're right about this one.
Yeah, I like Carolina, and I'll tell you if I'm going to buy the half point when we finish.
Okay. That number, 3.5.
There's Sam Darnold and Wilkes, they're fighting for the jobs. Sam Darnold might have made himself some money. I hate saying this because then I get lumped in with the people that give these first-round quarterbacks like 10 years. But he has looked good the last month. What's the catch?
Sam Darnold to the Colts next year. 1-year rental.
That might be it. He's a younger version of the other guys.
There you go.
Steve, you're up.
I'm going to take the Raiders +9.5.
Yeah.
I really liked what I saw from Stidham. No one's done that to the Niners defense. Showed a lot of moxie at quarterback, and I like getting that at home. Give me the Raiders at home.
He does have moxie.
Yeah. That's where we get our haircut.
You know, that's a racist term. They
that's
never
the
say a
Rock.
black guy has moxie. It's always a white guy that has moxie. Is that true? It's kind of like being high motor.
Yeah.
It's true, though. No one has ever said, you know, no one's ever been like, Lamar Jackson's got moxie.
What was Mel's breakdown of you?
Moxie, high motor. Yeah. They
Great
couldn't say good
wherewithal.
grades, but, yeah.
Gritty.
Bloodlines. Bloodlines. I love saying that word. It's awesome. That's why all the Hall of Famers got kids in the league. Like, go ahead.
What did
did Steve pick yet?
Yeah, it's me.
Steve picked. The thing about this is I don't know who to pick, which makes it a very difficult exercise.
Do you want to move back in the and I can pick?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Sure. I'll take the Washington Commanders.
Okay.
Catching 7.5. Sam Howell. The Cowboys looking at the fucking scoreboard the whole game. You know?
Yep.
Yeah, give me the commies. That's a lot of points.
Okay. I will go.
I'm seeing the board. I'm starting to see the board.
Okay, well, let me know after this exercise.
Yeah.
I got to put in the picks for the pool. So here's the deal with Denver. And I don't know if I'm picking Denver. They're favored by 2 over LA because if Cincy beats Baltimore in the 1 o'clocks, LA is locked into the 5. And Brandon Staley has said they'll adjust after that game. So they could sit everybody.
Right.
And that's why Denver has moved to a favorite at home against the Chargers. That
Don't be so sure about Cincy beating Baltimore.
I hear you loud and clear on that. Which is why we're going to pivot. Okay, Chris?
Okay.
We are going to pivot.
Don't travel, just pivot.
Yeah.
And we are going
They don't call
to
it traveling anymore.
How'd Skylar Thompson do? Is that his name? How did he do throwing the ball earlier this year?
Great.
He was aight. I think the Jets are going to. Salah's mad.
I'm going to choose to be burned by the LA Rams once more, plus 6.5 at Seattle.
It burnt bad last week.
Oh, it burned real bad.
I would love for them to win that game. I pray they win that game. So we can get Sunday night. I mean, we're going to get an intense game anyways because Dan Campbell's going to go Fugu.
Right.
Fugu, no handler on the Packers.
And my hope is that McVay will, to a degree, go Fugu with his guys.
Yeah. They want to fuck up Seattle's year.
Yeah. Baker.
Fugu is a puffer fish, Steve. It's one of the most toxic meals.
It's like poison, Steve.
It's poison, but it's got to be prepared right. Okay. Who's up?
Steve, Stanford Steve.
I'm taking the Giants plus 14.
Tyrod. That's a good pick.
Are they surely starting Tyrod?
I guess not. I mean, they're not idiots.
You're going to extend Daniel Jones. You might want to not avoid him getting hurt week 18.
No kidding.
Okay. So then I'll take... Oh, you're up. You up? Yeah, you're first. We've just been switching up.
We're switching back and forth. I'm playing the game, all right? I've said this before. I'm not seeing the board, so I have to go against Steve.
Fade yourself? Or
I have to go against Steve.
Okay.
Chiefs, minus 9.5 against the Raiders. Now, don't say you like it, because last week you said you liked it when I went Jets against Seahawks, and Steve got me. You made up.
Yeah, that's my only win.
Here's what I'm thinking about right now. Here's what I am thinking about.
Play the game too.
I don't want to play the game. I just want to pick teams I like. I do like the Steelers in this spot. I know that Cleveland wants to play spoiler and all that.
Oh shit, it's right there.
And maybe
Steelers.
Steelers.
You want to buy your half point on that down to 2.5?
Of course he does. Yeah.
No, it's 2.5.
No, it's 3.
It's 3 dogs.
Oh, it's 3?
Yeah. But you can get it to 2.5.
No, let me get it to 3.5 or 2.5. Let me get it 2.5. Let me get 2.5.
That's the best pick that's been made.
Well, I just feel like for some other team, it might be scoreboard watch. We might be doing the Mike Tomlin is the dude, man, and he's going to have these guys locked in. And I just don't think Cleveland's very good. I'm not waiting for Cleveland to play better or anything like that. They got nothing on the line. Deshaun Watson's a shell of his former self. He's like anyway.
You made the right pick.
Yeah, thank you.
Good
I was thinking about Detroit.
I was thinking about Green Bay.
Yeah, well, Green Bay's probably the right pick, but my heart's in it too much.
Steve, you're
What's the quarterback matchup in Texans-Colts?
Ellinger, if you like,
and Ellinger's. I actually don't hate him. That's how I talk about backup quarterbacks.
And he's played a little.
That's as good as saying I like him.
And he's played a little bit. I don't know. Maybe Bryce Young for the Texans.
Okay.
Last week they played Davis Mills. He threw it 40 times. They lost 31-3.
Incredible to throw the ball that much and score 3 points.
Yep.
I'll take the
the
Packers.
Texans. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. Yeah.
Look at that.
Life is the Texans are like a box of chocolates. You just don't know.
Steve, I'm going to add your half point to the Giants so you get them at 14.5.
But seriously, the guys beat the fucking Cowboys, damn near beat the Cowboys. Then they just Lovey's on the hot seat already.
I made terrible picks. My half point doesn't matter because I picked all hooks.
So go back through it.
Give me the Rams at 7 just for
the fuck of it.
Yeah.
Just for ha-has.
Yep.
So I got the Panthers plus 3.5, the Commies plus 7.5, and I got the Steelers 2.5. as favorites. Macon has the Colts minus 2.5. Rams catching 7, and the Chiefs laying 9.5.
But to be clear, I'm playing the game.
He's playing the game. Whatever you want. I mean, I don't think people pay that much attention to this.
What's the winner get?
Hold on. Hold on a minute, player. At the tuxedo party where I got the flu, and also this trailing flu.
Yeah.
A cat rolled up and said, "Love the show, love the Stanford Steve,
Good.
love all the picks. Listen to your picks. You've made me some money."
Good.
And then I was like, "Oh, I really appreciate that." He goes, "Well, not you so much."
That's funny.
Swear to God.
Who's that guy?
I don't know, but burned me real bad and then kept it moving.
That guy's great. We
Yeah.
should have him on the show.
Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Now, meanwhile, I was rolling at that point.
Yeah.
I think I was leading the league.
Well, he saw
here.
this dip coming. No, that was like a week ago, dude. All right.
Maybe we should get a trophy for this.
Yeah, we probably should.
Trophy'd be good.
Trophy'd be good.
Yeah.
Or a punishment, but next year, like for the third place guy. That's fun.
Oh, it's a
Because the one-on-one thing sucks.
fucking
It's
riot.
like,
Yeah.
fucking riot. You've barely been punished. Okay, Steve. Got the Raiders catching 9.5. You get the Giants catching 14.5. You get the Packers laying 4.5. I think that Packers game is going to be really interesting, man. I mean, face value, yeah, there's a lot on the line, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see how far the Packers have come and to see how far Detroit's come, because this is the type of game that you expect Detroit to lose. From a climate standpoint, from a Jared Goff, the evolution of a young team standpoint, like if they can man up and win this game, man, whatever happens in the 1 p.m., I think you can go in the offseason feeling pretty damn good about this team.
Hey, I'll take my 1v1 matchup as Jacksonville versus Tennessee, the one we all stayed away from. Where do you guys lean? Jacksonville laying 6 against Joshua Dobbs.
And Josh Dobbs played pretty well the other night.
Yeah?
From what I saw in my score app.
Yeah.
Until the fourth quarter when I threw it on Prime to watch the Cowboys hit it on the nose. I would probably lean Jacksonville, man. I just feel like they're cooking right now.
They are.
And Doug's done a great job. Like, look at the mentality of that team last week. Got really nothing to play for. You're playing the Texans. That could have been that's what I anticipated, it being a real slugfest. Like and they go out and they handle business. I feel like this team's in a groove right now.
Can we get Chargers at Jags first round?
Yeah.
That's looking likely, isn't it?
Yep.
That's a good game.
What's looking most likely right now? Let's close the show out with that and just talk about the phantom matchups.
Dallas at Tampa.
Correct.
I love that, and I would let's make the lines. Okay, we've already done this, I think, but Dallas by 4.
Yep.
In Tampa, I'd probably bet Tampa.
3.5 to 4.5. And
Yeah.
Didn't we talk about just reminding ourselves at a later date not to bet Tampa in the playoffs?
No,
are we going to be
maybe
okey-doked by the downfield throwing this
See,
last
I
week?
wasn't planning on there being some explosion of positivity at the end of the season for Tampa. They still suck, kind of. I mean, but it's Dallas. I don't trust
I'll have
Dallas.
Tampa, no doubt.
Yeah, right?
No doubt.
That defense, man, the intensity they would play with in the playoffs, and just the danger of, like, man, you could lose to the Bucks. You could lose to the Bucks. All that, everything that you've done all year, all this hype, all this noise, all this.
Sean Payton to Arlington, Texas in 10 days.
Woo-hoo-hoo, Kenny Powers.
Yeah.
All right, and then what else we would
New York
have?
Giants at Minnesota, most likely.
I like the Giants there. The Giants should have won that ball game a couple weeks ago.
And I like that they didn't, though.
Yeah, right? It's good.
Even better.
You know the rule.
Yeah. And the Niners would host the 7, which is
Packers most likely.
probably Green Bay.
And Packers come back down to earth a little bit.
Yeah.
Or Brock Purdy looks human because it's the playoffs.
That's what I'm waiting for. I'm waiting.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen. He's going to hit a wall.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the perfect – yeah. Well, anyways, okay, and then the AFC, we're looking at Chargers-Jags, which would be a great game. The line there – what would the line be in San Francisco?
In San Francisco, Niners hosting the Packers.
5.5?
6.
6? You think higher?
I do think higher. Yeah, I think it'd be 6.5 at least.
Okay.
Brock Purdy, Aaron Rodgers.
I'd probably bet the Packers there.
Five and a half.
Yeah, I probably if you get me up near a touchdown, and then we've got the Pats Bills, unless, and this is one thing I was gonna talk to you about here. If you're the Bills this weekend and you're playing the Pats, if you lose that game, do you slide to 3?
Almost certainly, yes.
Okay, so that means you'd have to go to Cincy again if you play them, which you don't want to do, but. You kind of wonder if the Bills are like, yeah, let the Pats in the playoffs. Like if it came down to it, not that you'd want to see Tua, not that you'd necessarily see Tua because of the concussion thing, but Miami's a tough matchup for them. In another dimension, they might consider that, but with 2 and 3 on the line, Pats Bills, that's like a touchdown at least.
Oh yeah,
it's like 8.5, 9 points, something like that.
Well, 7.5 this week.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you've got Bengals, Ravens. Bengals would host the Ravens. That's a big question mark for me with Lamar and the whole thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens are Ravens. Are we going to see Lamar or not? That's
but healthy Lamar, what are you handicapping that at?
Bengals -5.
I was going to say 5.5.
I was going to say 4.
4.5.
Okay, and then and that's all of them. And then what you could get is you could get the Eagles. The Eagles playing. If the Eagles were the 1 seed, I'm going to guess the lowest seeded winner would be the Giants, and you'd see the Giants, and
you'd see DJ.
And
Saquon.
And you'd hope like hell you don't see the Packers.
And Isaiah Hodges.
Right. So you'd be rooting for the Niners, even though if you're the Eagles, would you kind of want the Niners to lose and you take Aaron Rodgers in that first round so you don't see the Niners in the NFC Championship? Because the Niners in the NFC Championship would be a fucking bear to deal with for the Eagles. I'm just going to say that right now. And on the other side, you'd get the Chiefs waiting on probably the Chargers. Or the Jags, right?
Probably, yeah.
And both of those matchups are tough matchups for the Chiefs. Mm-hmm. It's going to be spicy, guys. I can't wait. I can't wait. All right. Well, Steve, thanks for your time. Macon, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
I know you're going to get home to your family, as do I.
Are you coming back to D.C.?
Next week.
Oh,
Next
dude,
week.
I might be in D.C. this Saturday night. My wife doesn't know that yet, but I might be in D.C. Saturday night.
He's not coming back he's going to be out there
God
for the
damn it,
for the
Steve.
national title game.
Sorry, bud.
All right. Well, you're not.
You could be in studio with Scott after Chiefs Raiders.
No, I'm going to be at a concert.
9:30 club.
I don't know which club.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, y'all take care.
Love you, Steve.
Love you guys. Macon.
Yes.
I hope you get better.
Thank you. You're the first one to say that to me today. I appreciate that.
On the way in.
You said on the way in?
Yeah, I said I hope he gets better.
Thank you, Steve.
Take care.
Bless your heart.
Listen to the full podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast streaming platforms. Wherever you want to get the podcast, you can get the podcast. Pretty simple. New episodes every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Podcasts get pretty wild. This is real tame.